everybody. Today I'm talking with Shawn Henderson, who co-created the howJETS program with Rachel Cook, right?
Cook, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so can you just tell us a little bit of how it started at Runnymede? You started at Runnymede.
Yes, so it started at Runnymede. I was at Eastern Commerce, actually, in this building, 16 Finn. And Eastern closed and I was transferred to Runnymede. And when I was met at Runnymede, I was told that they were in the process of de-streaming English and I was going to be in charge of that project. I was interested in de-streaming, but I was skeptical, as many people are. I wondered how it would work, so I went to Rachel Cook and we sat down together and tried to figure out how we could help our students at many different levels most effectively. So howJETS is based on the work of Penny Kittle. Book love is where we get a lot of our ideas. There's also some stuff from Kylene Beers and many different educational researchers within the scaffolding of what we do, but predominantly Penny Kittle and book love. So I highly suggest that people read that book. Essentially, if you wanted to simplify what howJETS is just sort of a structure in which teachers can use Penny Kittle's ideas and Kylene Beers' ideas effectively so that they don't have to worry about evaluations and so that the classroom runs very, very efficiently. So a lot of what we do is based on their ideas. So why is it that we decided to go this way with howJETS? Essentially, we looked at our literacy scores and some information on the literacy test, and we saw that a lot of students weren't reading that much through high school. So we became very curious about that, and we created a survey and asked our students how much they were reading, how many books they read in the past year, and whether they liked reading or not. And what we found really surprised us. Actually, students coming in grade 9, about half of them were reading independently. And
only half.
About half. So educational research says that independent reading is the best indicator of reading success. So if we can make our students independent readers, that's the best thing we can do to help them succeed. So half of our students were coming in independent readers, which actually I was surprised. I thought it would be less, in all honesty. The problem was, we surveyed all of our students through the grades, and year over year the amount of independent reading went down, and it went down dramatically. So that half of our population in grade 9, by grade 12 was less than 10%, which means that 90% of our grade 12 students in 12U and 12C were not reading for fun or not reading outside of school. So we've taken students who were independent readers and made them dependent readers. They only read what's in class. We started the howJETS program and we were interested in how it would affect students in terms of their reading and writing. So one thing that we track is how much students read during the term, and we compare that to our survey data, and essentially we find that students are reading about at a rate 6 times greater during a term of howJETS than they are when they're not in howJETS or previously. And of course, what we're hoping is that this spills into their everyday life and that they become lifelong readers. They become independent readers who read outside of school for fun. So there's a lot of focus on creating habits outside of the classroom to try and make students lifelong readers and lifelong learners in that way.
So what assessment did you use right from the get-go? Like, you're talking about a survey, but did you do an actual assessment? Did you do a formal diagnostic reading assessment at any point?
So not in we don't have incoming and outgoing data on our students in howJETS classroom. We have it in the right to read. So right to read is our intervention process. So students who are struggling with reading, who are not able to read in non-graphic text in a way that they can become independent readers. We take them out of class, we work with them one-on-one, and what we see in those classroom, or in that setting, is that students usually move 2.5 to 3 grade levels in terms of their comprehension or decoding in a matter of 8 to 10 weeks. So
And-
these are students who have struggled for a long
Yes.
period of time, have not made a lot of movement,
Yeah.
and undergo this extreme acceleration.
Right.
We've seen some of those students then succeed, well, we've seen most of those students then succeed in the JETS classroom, and sometimes we go back and take a look at where they are a year later,
Right.
and they've moved dramatically. So we had a student who moved 5 or 6 grade levels in Write to Read and JETS together.
So they're able
So-
to sustain the improvement then.
Exactly.
But you're finding that with the, at the end of, say, 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, that you're seeing an improvement,
Yeah, humongous improvement.
not just in interest in reading,
Yeah.
but in terms of comprehension?
Yes, definitely. So
Yeah.
the JETS day is split into 3 parts. There's the independent reading initially,
Right.
then there's prompt writing,
Uh-huh.
and then there's reading strategy work.
Right.
The reading strategy work is where we really work on student comprehension. So they
Yeah.
summarize, they question, they predict, they infer, and we explicitly teach those strategies, and then we have the students work on them over and over again.
Right.
So through the year, they keep coming back to those reading strategies. And the educational research says that that is one of the best things for students
Yes.
if we can make them active readers.
Right,
So
yeah.
if they internalize those reading
Right.
strategies and they do them themselves,
Yes.
then they will become really great learners.
So I've got another question, a couple of questions here for you that sort of pertain to us. So one of the questions was, a teacher asked was, how do you, is this across the board, is it just in your classroom that you're doing this, or is it in all English classrooms?
At Runnymede, it is in all English classrooms in grade 9 or 10
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
We're rolling it through year over year, so
Okay.
we've done grade 9, grade 10. Next year we'll include grade 11, and
Okay.
eventually all of our classes
So
will be
basically,
JETS.
and so a teacher asked me yesterday, how do you fit that in? So first of all, how long during the day is it? Is it 20 minutes? Is it a half an hour? How long does it go on for?
The reading portion,
Yeah.
the reading portion is 20 to 25 minutes
Minutes,
usually.
right.
It depends. At the beginning of the year, if you have struggling readers, you might make it shorter. You
Yeah.
don't want the reading to be burdensome.
Okay.
On the other hand, as you go through the term, occasionally we'll
Yes.
go longer and see how far we can stretch them. And what we found is that very reluctant readers can read for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
even an hour if we
If
allow
they have the
them to.
right book.
Yes.
So how do you fit that in with the credit? Because that's, see, in section 23, a teacher will have less than 10 kids in a class, but they're all doing different, somebody's
Right.
doing science, somebody's doing math, somebody's doing social studies, somebody's
Right.
doing a whole variety of different credits. Do you have any suggestions for how you would fit that into a classroom like that? Or is
Yeah.
that putting you on the spot? Maybe that's
No,
something,
no,
yeah, you'd have.
I think it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I would stick with the same schedule for the
Yes.
students. You know, I mean, I guess the only thing is for a book talk. So at the beginning of the class, we do a book talk.
Yes.
Just read a very interesting little piece of a book.
Right.
And I would do that for everyone. I think
Okay,
that's
so it
great
doesn't
for the
matter
kids.
what credit they're doing, you
Yeah.
still find that time during the day.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yes.
obviously, I believe in this, so I would actually get all of my students to
Right.
read, because I think there's a lot of research that shows that's great for them in math class, in science class, in all classes. That's up to each teacher, but I would do the book talk to everyone, and then
Yes.
give the reading time at least to the English
Yes.
students, if not
Yeah.
everyone. And then you give them a prompt. They annotate the prompt. They can discuss if there are a few of them, and then they write on the prompt. Students at different grade levels could do this together and still have a very meaningful experience. You're trying to get them to write for volume, so they write based on what they see in the prompt, and you would then periodically check their writing and try to move them along. We try to embed lessons, so this is a Penny Kittle idea. While students write, we write publicly, so
Okay.
on the blackboard or a whiteboard,
Yes.
and we embed a lesson into that.
Okay.
So it might be sentence structure, it might be a hook. That's how we do most of our writing lessons. So at the core of JETS is the idea that students will read a lot more if they are reading things that they're interested in. The teacher's responsibility is to bring rich text into the classroom. And if you are displeased with certain texts, just don't include them in your classroom. So I think that regardless of how you feel about the appropriateness of texts, I mean, you can find texts out there that you think are appropriate that will work within the classroom.
Right.
I think at the same time, there's this double standard that I don't really understand, where students are going on the internet and getting content in anything that they want. They're on TV watching things that are rated R. And then there's this thing that's so good for them, reading, and we try and control what they do in reading more than anything anywhere else in their life. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Because reading is great for their brains. There's all sorts of research that suggests makes students smarter, makes them think in different ways, relieves stress. Students who are reading regularly are 67% less stressed. So good for them in wellness, so good for their minds, and yet we try to control what they read, and that makes them disinterested in it. Also, we don't allow them to read at their level. We tell them they have to read at the grade 9 level or the grade 10 level, and that discourages students. So yeah, bringing in good quality text is important. Making sure that you have texts that represent different cultural groups in many different interesting ways, that you don't just have the same story about one culture is really important. But that's our responsibility as teachers, and there's this great group of howJETS teachers who are coming together trying to find all of these wonderful books who can help people who are starting out. And we would welcome your help as well. So right now we're in about a third of high schools in Toronto.
A third?
Yeah, there's a howJETS teacher in a third of the buildings in Toronto.
So it's growing. It's growing fast.
Yes. So we've only started. It's been 1 year of promotion. We're in a third of schools. I'm optimistic by next year we'll be in half at least. There are 184 teachers in the Google Classroom. That's just in the Toronto District School Board, and it's just teachers who are interested. And people are at different points in terms of where they are in their development of howJETS. But yeah, I mean, we're hoping by next year it's the predominant method of teaching grade 9 and 10 English in the city.
That's so good. And I didn't get a chance to look. I'll ask you for the link, but is there a list of texts on the website?
Yes, so
text?
everything is on the website. I'm going to have to probably go through it this summer and reorganize because a lot's on there now. But all of the evaluation pieces you could want, a book list, even pages from the books that you could do as a book talk. Those are just suggestions, but how popular the books are, all the infographics that you could want, the videos you could want, there are 80 lessons. So you could go to the Google Classroom, you could just download and print out the lessons, and everything would be done for you. And everything you need is on there. And if not, you can just email me.
And there you go, they have the summer now, so they can take half an hour from golf or sailing or whatever and start preparing for the fall. Really what they need to do is probably start. Would you recommend that they go to a workshop or just get started and contact you? So
if you contact me and you take a look at what's on the website, feel free to send me any questions. I get lots of questions from people around the board. I'd say start right away. We had at a demonstration classroom a lady who stopped midway through a unit, dropped everything she was doing, started up on Monday with the howJETS class and wrote us about how well it was going.
So they shouldn't be nervous or intimidated anyway. Just get started and then...
I understand why someone would feel that way going in, but actually this is going to be really good for you as a teacher. It will relieve a lot of your stress, and you'll see very quickly that students are making progress in ways they weren't before.
There are several workshops on this year, I'm assuming, in 2019, 18-19 on AW? Sorry, not AW, but Key to Learn?
Nothing's scheduled right now for next year. We've had a few this year. I expect that we'll have several next year. Nothing imminent right now. If you're interested in howJETS, you can email me at Shawn, SEAN.Henderson @tdsb.on.ca. I'll add you to the Google Classroom, and I regularly post updates about any PD that we might be doing there.
And I'll post the link underneath the YouTube. So they should keep their eyes open also Key to Learn, right?
Yes, certainly. But again, if
Yeah.
you join the Google Classroom,
Yes,
you'll get the information.
then you get the
you need
information regularly. Okay, thanks very much, Shawn, and we'll put your email at the end of this.
there. Wonderful.
And thanks for watching, and don't forget to share. See you next time.
Thank you.